Dr. Connelly recruited my experience to be utilized as a learning opportunity for everyone. And let's just say what happened next was absolutely wild. As a life coach, it will be no surprise to you that I spend a ton of time nourishing and fueling my brain with resources that are inspiring, challenging, educational, and are always geared towards helping craft and align both my own life and, of course, those that I serve. For nearly a decade, I've listened to hundreds upon hundreds of interviews that spotlight specialists of all different kinds, discussing various aspects of both mental and holistic health. But in the spring of 2024, I was walking my dog, listening to yet another educational podcast episode where a man named Dr. Jon Connelly said something that stopped me dead in my tracks. My jaw literally dropped open as I just could not believe what I heard. Finally, I had found someone else in the world that was articulating aspects about anxiety in a way that was entertaining, it made sense, it excluded clinical jargon, and it surpassed the over-recycled regurgitation of the fight, flight, or freeze response. And this was extra exciting for me because shortly before stumbling on Dr. Connelly's interview, I had just finalized and really began settling into my selected name for my private coaching practice, Actionable Anxiety. As a prior long-term anxiety sufferer myself and now a full-time anxiety and adulting coach, I will admit for the longest time, I continue to be disappointed by people that deem themselves as experts around the topics of mental health and anxiety because they often spoke of anxiety in a way that I just did not feel was the most advantageous for the world's ears to hear. So when I heard Dr. Connelly begin discussing anxiety, I knew I had finally found someone else that I was 100% in alignment with about how to understand, approach, discuss, and respond to anxiety. And I was ready to support and back this man up. So within 5 seconds or less, I already knew with full certainty that I just had to meet him, support him, study under him, and partner with him, his message, and all of his tools and modalities, and ASAP. So I turned back to head home. I walked right through my front door, got on my computer, and immediately purchased access into Dr. Connelly's Rapid Resolution Therapy Foundations course. And since you're here to get my testimonial and review on the course, I'll cut to the chase and let you know upfront that after completing this highly enjoyable and highly entertaining 10-week course, I can truly and thoroughly say that this was one of my best investments I've made for my own personal development and my own mental health, and as well as my private coaching practice. So if you're a human on this earth experiencing all the wows and woes of humanhood, and you want to enhance both your survivability and thrivability while honoring all of your brain's advancements and dysfunctions, then this is going to be the course for you. So let's begin. Hi, I'm Mac. I'm a life coach for young adults, or as I like to say, I'm an anxiety and adulting coach. And if dramatically reducing the frequency, intensity, and duration of yours or a loved one's anxiety symptoms is of top interest to you, you can find out more about actionable anxiety in the video description below, where you can practice being an action taker by selecting the action that feels most aligned for you today. All right, this is going to be a rapid fire video giving you my fully honest, fully transparent review and testimonial for Dr. Jon Connelly's Rapid Resolution Therapy Foundations course. And I'll speak from the point of view of taking the course for both professional purposes and or just personal purposes. From my point of view, I'm going to give you the full lowdown on who this course is fabulous for, what's the vibe you can expect from your instructor, Dr. Jon Connelly, why this course may rub up against some of y'all in the wrong way and how to identify this ahead of time, what you can expect from the educational value received, as well as the ease, enjoyment, and entertainment factors of the course, a fun, unexpected, and rather out of this world experience I had that involved me turning into a bubble. And of course, saving the best for last, I'll share with you an insane discount that can be applied to upcoming RRT Foundation courses, a discount that I too got gifted when signing on to the course originally, and I had thought it was actually a typo in the email they sent me because it was literally the biggest discount I've been gifted, and now I get to give this to you too, but more on that later. Let's get to it. Okay, I'm going to guess that if you're here at this video, you've likely already looked a little bit into Rapid Resolution Therapy, or in short, RRT. But if not, the website is fabulous for providing an introductory summary, so I won't repeat a lot of that here. But I will give you my own 60-second intro. Okay, first off, RRT is a philosophical approach to how the mind is processing data, resulting in swift, painless, more enjoyable, and sustainable transformation in how one is thinking, feeling, acting, and reacting to all of life's circumstances. And I love this line from the website that says, Unlike traditional methods, RRT transforms the unconscious mind's information processing, ensuring natural, automatic, and enduring improvements. RRT's magic is completely predicated on multi-level communication, which means creatively using various communication strategies, tools, techniques, and approaches to successfully communicate with both the conscious and the subconscious mind, allowing you to address all of the brain of the person you are trying to help, which fast tracks getting things done, getting things cleared, and getting things completed a hell of a lot faster than traditional methodologies of therapeutic intervention. I want to emphasize this to you to make sure it didn't just slip by you just now, because what I just shared with you is very different than what is commonly pursued in various professional spaces where a practitioner continues to work on something with a client. Because if you're working on something with a client, that implies there is still work to be done, and therefore work is not really getting done. See, in RRT land, for the most part, if you are really honing in on getting things completed and cleared for your client, then you should likely be seeing a client for only 1 to 3 sessions to tackle a particular issue. Hence the name Rapid and Rapid Resolution Therapy. Now, if this sounds too good to be true, then you have some fun surprises in store for you with this course and in your whole journey exploring RRT. Because RRT gives the world a fun, highly effective, and highly satisfactory experience in personal transformation, and particularly as it relates to how the mind is processing data, no matter how deep, dark, and difficult the circumstance is being perceived to be. RRT serves as an alternative approach to much of what the mental health industry and other people-changing professionals have historically had to offer, serving as a serious breath of fresh air and providing swift, natural, and sustainable results. At the time of this recording, RRT Foundations is a 10-week, fully virtual course consisting of 1 all-day session once a week for 10 weeks. So in other words, 10 full days of training. So, who attends this course and who exactly is the course best fit for? If you can recall from earlier when quickly introducing RRT, I described RRT as a philosophical approach to how the mind is processing data. And because anyone can engage with philosophy, that also means anyone and everyone is welcomed into the course, regardless of your educational background, your personal circumstances, your professional credentials or agendas, and your titles or lack thereof. So this means you have a lovely diversity of folks gathering from all around the world to join you in learning some wickedly neat and absolutely life-changing perspectives on the mind, human suffering, and our ability to access and sustain vibrant health. Even though there will be many people in this course that are training to become certified in RRT and further gain professional credentials, at the same time, there are also a ton of people who are just simply curious about RRT and have no professional association or agenda with taking this course, and they're just merely excited to discover ways to apply it in their own personal lives. Even the professionals that were taking the course with me would often be working through issues and hurdles in their own life and not always discussing things pertaining to their clients, patients, or place of work. But on that note, as this year was my first time taking the course, I felt it was both super interesting and super affirming that there were so many doctors, therapists, social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, brain scientists, and mindfulness practitioners that were actually returning to this RRT course because they became obsessed with the rapid impact RRT tools have delivered for the people and the spaces they are serving. And I don't think there was a single professional in my training who didn't vocalize that they seriously wish that they had access to RRT training at the beginning of their career. There were even a handful of folks that were not only well into their career, but actually approaching retirement, and they were having a smidgen of a life meltdown because they realized how much more of an effective and impactful practitioner they could have been throughout the majority of their career if only they had known about and had access to and had been implementing and practicing the RRT perspective much earlier on. Hearing this came with a certain bittersweetness because a lot of these folks had expressed having some amalgamation of grief, embarrassment, annoyance, or jealousy because of their desire to have been trained in RRT years, if not decades ago. And a lot of them would say something to Dr. Connelly such as, "Where have you been all this time?" And Dr. Connelly would respond something of the nature that he was busy crafting, fine-tuning, and preparing to introduce RRT, and that required some serious years of background work. This really was fascinating, inspiring, and a true testament to the power of RRT. And to be totally blunt, this really made me feel super affirmed in my investment into this course. There was even an emergency room doctor who was in my cohort of students who, despite practically having not a single moment of free time, decided to commit what little time he did have to getting trained in RRT because he saw how impactful it was in engaging with patients in the emergency room. Patients ranging from folks that had survived suicide attempts to folks that were having panic attacks, folks that were grieving over their pain, and folks that were nervous for surgery, etc. Okay, you've got that now, so let's switch gears, because all of this mysterious RRT magic, of course, begins with the founding wizard himself, Dr. Jon Connelly. And I want to share my initial experience of observing him and learning from him, being coached by him, and of course, seeing him teach, coach, and train others in my cohort of students. So, from my personal experience with wearing the particular lens that I do, and with the various personality characteristics I have, I truly did find Dr. Connelly to be outlandishly witty, clever, funny, entertaining, down-to-earth, professional yet casual, organized, incredibly inspiring, and incredibly interesting. And so it did not take me long at all to absolutely fall in love with him and his vibe. And with responsibility being a personal value of mine, I took extra stock in all the small to large ways that he, without fail, at all moments, held a high level of responsibility for his craft, his student success, the quality of the course, and the immense influence RRT can have in reducing unnecessary human suffering around the world. And since he is dedicated to expanding global reach of RRT, he is thereby dedicated to enhancing the accessibility of this RRT Foundations course, which is one reason that you'll have an opportunity to get that massive discount on the course that I mentioned earlier and we'll touch on at the end of the video. So the depth, granularity, and caliber of responsibility that he upholds is seriously massive and seriously impressive. To give you some examples, when teaching RRT, there is not a single word that he speaks out loud to the class that he doesn't feel is 100% in alignment with what he is really meaning to say, or what would be of the utmost value to say, or what he really wants you to get and understand in that moment. So he will take his time to say exactly what would be of value to have said, and he will not hesitate to correct himself or lean on inspiration from students in the course to find more advantageous ways to teach or say what he is trying to teach or say. And on that note, this definitely is an experiential and immersive course where the level of your participation, although completely optional, really builds and fuels the success of the course for everyone involved. So he is also zealous about protecting the quality of the course while balancing student participation, which means he will not let people ask a bunch of tangential questions or even a single tangential question that will potentially compromise the quality, orientation, or retention of the learning that is happening in the moment. He does not hesitate to find ways to bypass or shut down questions or comments that do not bring high learning value to everyone in the course. So whether that be done with humor and grace, or just flat out directness, which can be both a little cringy and secretly funny to watch, and I will admit I loved it. I gotta give a bit of a heads up to some of y'all that Dr. Connelly is also a bit of a firecracker, which I love, but let me break this down for you in case his certain spark may not be the best match for you. You need to be aware ahead of time about a few things. First, he cusses, and hey, I do too, but I won't beat around the bush with y'all. It's not uncommon for him to administer what might first come across as rather blunt, vulgar, or pretty brutal language. However, it doesn't take long for you to observe and learn that he is always doing this on purpose to help aid the specific learning of the moment and to add a sprinkle of intentional and well-calibrated drama and entertainment to you, the student, while succeeding in enhancing the quality of your retention of your attention, because he is a master of communicating with both your conscious and your subconscious mind. So all that to be said, please know that any flavorful adult language from Dr. Jon Connelly is never out of malintent, laziness, naivety, or lack of awareness, and especially not a lack of trauma-informed awareness. You see, Dr. Connelly is debatably the most trauma-informed person on planet Earth. He has worked directly and intimately for many decades with participants that have experienced sexual assault, domestic violence, and substance use, including, quite frankly, any wild, horrific, or deeply disturbing example you can possibly perceive in your head. Therefore, a lot of examples he may give to aid your learning during the RRT Foundations course will very often fall back on these topics, easily 50% of the time. So references to sexual assault, substance abuse, and domestic violence is going to be a regular happening, and I want you to know that ahead of time. But if you are someone who may have a heightened emotional response to mentionings of these topics, please know that you are in extra great hands, and I don't want that to shy you away from the course at all. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but I can promise you this much. If you complete the course, you will not have the same nervous system response to these topics or any of your life turmoils or tensions as you may have had prior to starting the course. It's just simply impossible. And that's one of the magical joys everyone talks about when approaching the end of the course. I remember there was either a psychologist or a psychiatrist who was well into the depths of her career and who gave a personal sharing that she felt like she was completely freaking out because no longer did she feel she knew how to do her job, despite having been a full-time active practitioner in her field for decades on end. Why? She felt that the RRT perspective and RRT approach was so much more impactful, transformative, effective, fun, attractive, and yielding of sustainable results that she felt like she could ethically not go back to practicing what she used to know and do. Now, that is a powerful testimony to not only RRT, but also this RRT Foundations course. Okay, circling us back here, let's get a little bit more personal for a second. While taking the course, it's impossible to not also be busy grappling with your own internal turmoils, whether your personal issues have to do with topics like grief, weight loss, compulsions, insecurities, your lingering sex addiction, your recent divorce, or the fact that you don't like yellow shoes and yellow shoes really bother you. Trust me when I say that people will bring the whole party bag of issues to this course, and because of that, this actually becomes a quintessential component of the RRT Foundations course, because Dr. Connelly will consistently utilize willing participants as fresh, real-life, in-the-moment, raw examples for everyone's training and benefit. And if hearing this makes you nervous, trust me when I say that there is literally not a single thing you could bring to the table that is actually going to be considered weird, inappropriate, or shocking. And even if the other cohort members might feel a bit new to the topic you bring up, I guarantee you that Dr. Connelly will not. So please know that there is not a better online space and online community for you to feel welcomed and secure in bringing all of your squiggly wigglies that are in your personal party bag. And that's what I call all of your internal tensions and turmoils. This means you really get to see the magic of RRT through both experiencing it yourself and taking direct witness to others also experiencing it firsthand for themselves. And since all walks of life from all over the world gather around for this training, that means your peers are also bringing with them any and every issue under the sun. So you got a lot of different party bags being brought to the party, making it a complete surprise on what issues may be covered and explored, including for Dr. Connelly. Let me give you a personal example from myself. On the morning of one of the scheduled course sessions, just 5 minutes prior to the course starting, I had some particularly sticky resentment come to the surface. I was quickly trying to have a conversation with my partner about a scheduled dog grooming appointment set for later in the day, and we'll skip the details of that convo, but essentially the conversation unearthed about a year's worth of anger and resentment I had towards my partner. And since the course session was starting just 5 seconds after my partner and I finished talking, it's an understatement to say I came into the training day freshly ripe with some interpersonal anger and resentment. Dr. Connelly recruited my experience to be utilized as a learning opportunity for everyone, and let's just say what happened next was absolutely wild. After spending what felt like an hour of receiving direct one-on-one RRT from Dr. Connelly, but I'm sure it was really just 25 minutes, I had so much resounding peace and tranquility in my body that I actually thought I was a floating bubble. And I mean this literally, like literally. So if that doesn't spark your interest in this course, then I just don't know what will. The experience of watching others go through receiving RRT is not only incredibly educational, it is also incredibly inspiring, entertaining, supportive, and affirming of the power and potential that RRT provides. Okay, time to move on to some course logistics. The course gets 5 stars in my book concerning ease and accessibility, as well as the consistency of value received. Truly, each week, I thought that week's training was the best, and then the next week, I would be surprised that week's training was somehow even better And then the next week, I was surprised that the new week's training was even better, and this lasted the entirety of my experience in the course. The point being that the quality was consistent and the quality was top-notch in my opinion. Additionally, one of the great things about the structure is that it's a 10-week-long virtual live course with the option to watch a recording if you cannot make it live on a specific week, or additionally, you can choose to passively receive the training by watching all 10 sessions recorded. Now, of course, I'm making this testimonial in fall of 2024, following my first RRT Foundations course from this recent summer. So as always, please do your own due diligence and double check and confirm the updated structure, expectations, and offerings for the next advertised RRT Foundations course, which can be found on the Rapid Resolution Therapy website with the Institute of Rapid Resolution Therapy. But since the structure was great and so many people loved its flexible nature, I really don't foresee them changing much in the near future. And I'll be honest with y'all, because I originally signed onto this course to expand my professional education and enhance the experience and the results I was delivering for my actionable anxiety clients, I was extra adamant about wanting to be at every training live so that I can interact with Dr. Connelly and other professionals from around the world. But it was a very hectic time in my personal life, and inevitably there were about 4 of the 10 weeks that I ended up needing to watch the recordings and not attend live. And y'all, it did not matter. It was still 100% as entertaining and valuable to watch the recording as to attend live. I genuinely looked so forward to cozying up at my house and watching the recordings of the trainings I missed. Lastly, from my experience thus far, the RRT staff team members that help assist Dr. Connelly are extremely welcoming and highly responsive to any comments, questions, or concerns. So in other words, you will be seen, you will be heard, and you will be thoroughly supported and welcomed into the RRT community. Okay, time to close out. If you are considering signing up for the RRT Foundations course and still have any questions or concerns, please, of course, first and foremost, reach out to the Institute of Rapid Resolution Therapy. But if you have any questions for me about my personal experience, my testimony, go ahead and use my contact form found in the video description below, and I'd be happy to connect and share with you anything else about my experience or insights I know about RRT. But honestly, this video really covers it all concerning my experience in the Rapid Resolution Therapy Foundations course. And hey, if you're feeling that this video really helped confirm your choice to invest in the next RRT Foundations course, maybe I'll see you there. This is a course I would happily retake in the future. And when I was taking it this summer, there were many people in my cohort who had not only had taken it prior, but had actually taken it a handful of times prior, and they just keep returning to learn and refine their skills more and more each time. Once again, what a serious testimony that is to the delivery and the quality of this course. All right, new future RRT friends, as promised, I'm happy to announce my new partnership with the Institute for Rapid Resolution Therapy, where I am able to offer y'all a seriously generous discount on the RRT Foundations course. And you can visit the video description below to find the affiliate discount code, as well as other ways to connect and chat with me, whether that be about RRT, actionable anxiety, or please know that at the time of making this video, I can only promise that this code is active for the upcoming February 2025 RRT Foundations course. However, if you are finding this video well after February of 2025 and you are considering signing up for a scheduled upcoming RRT Foundations course, go ahead and try to use this discount code now, or jot it down as a note or a reminder in your phone for the future when it comes closer to the next enrollment time, as there is a high chance it will still be an active and applicable code, and I would hate for y'all to miss out on this massive discount opportunity because you didn't take a moment to set a calendar reminder or jot it down or put a reminder on your phone or whatever. So to give you more insight, this partnership affiliate code will remain the same with the Institute of Rapid Resolution Therapy for years to come. And from my observations so far, they seem to offer this generous discount primarily for the reoccurring Foundations course, which seems to happen around 3 times a year. I'm going to guess they focus on gifting such a generous discount to this course in particular because they want more people, such as yourself, to have access to learning RRT, or at a minimum, the foundations of RRT, because even learning just the foundations is such a game-changing experience. So once again, if you are viewing this video after February 2025, you can still try to use my code and apply it to the next scheduled Foundations course, or feel free to reach out to me to inquire and confirm ahead of time to see if my code can be applied to any RRT course of interest to you. All right, y'all. That's my testimony. That's my review. And within the parameters and expectations I set for this video, I would love to know for you what was particularly effective in aiding your learning and decision to pursue the course, and as well, what was not particularly effective in aiding your learning and decision to pursue the course. And if you do sign up for the course and use my discount code, contact me anyway. Say hello. There's a chance I'll see you in the course myself or some other future RRT course, or even if I don't, I would love to serve as a new RRT reference and resource for you. So don't hesitate to drop me a comment or visit the video description to discover easy ways to get a hold of me and to check out some other RRT related resources.